Hey everyone. Today we're going to debunk a big myth about early retirement. The idea that you need to have your life purpose figured out before you take the leap. Now, if you've been holding yourself back because you feel like you're supposed to have this grand vision for your post retirement life, let me tell you, it's okay if you don't. I'm Vinny, and I retired after reaching financial independence at 45. And let me be honest with you, I didn't have a purpose all mapped out when I retired. What I did have was a burning desire to reclaim my time, explore life, and figure things along the way. It's been 1 year since I've been retired, and I can honestly say that this has been the best year of my life as far as I can at least remember. Now, in this video, I will explain why you don't have to have everything figured out, why it's okay to be running away from something that no longer serves you, and how setting flexible goals can create structure and fulfillment in your early retirement journey. So let's get into it. You've probably heard the saying, don't retire just to run away from something, retire to run towards something. And sure, that sounds inspiring. But let's get real for a moment. When you're working a job that takes up most of your time, drains your energy, and leaves you with little room to think about anything else, why wouldn't you want to get away from that? Running away from something that's not serving you is not a failure. It's survival. It's self care. And it's one of the most valid reasons to pursue early retirement. You don't need to know exactly what you're running towards. Sometimes just reclaiming your time is enough of a reason to start that journey. Like, I was working crazy hours at my company. It's not like I hated my job or anything, but it sucked up all my time. 80% of the time, I was doing things that I didn't really enjoy. And I questioned whether it was worth the 20% of things that I really enjoyed doing. Wouldn't it be so much better if I could reverse that so that 80% of my time was spent in doing the things I love? Now, I knew traveling, learning new things, playing sports, and spending more time with family and friends was what I would love to do. But in reality, I had no specific plan or set purpose. I thought I'll figure that out along the way as I would have more time. And that I did. Last year, in January, I was out in the Galapagos Islands in Ecuador with my family. In February and March, I was in South Africa in Cape Town playing the over 40s Cricket World Cup for the United States. In April, I learned pickleball and I started getting good at it. In May, we took a family trip to Canada to Jasper and Banff National Parks. That was beautiful. In June, we again took a family trip to Croatia, Slovenia, and some of the former Yugoslavian countries, and that was really fantastic as well. In July, we took a trip to Scotland. My daughter loves to play golf, so we went visited St Andrews and played golf in some of the most beautiful golf courses in Scotland. Went to Isle of Skye, did a lot of trekking there. It was a lot of fun. In August, I took a trip to Utah to play a pickleball tournament, which I won in singles and mixed doubles, which was a lot of fun. In September, I went backpacking to Nicaragua and slid down a volcano, something called volcano boarding. That was a totally new experience and totally worth it. In October, I went backpacking in northern India in a state called Himachal Pradesh. And then later in October, went to Dubai to play a cricket tournament. In November, we took a family trip to Patagonia, Chile, and Argentina. And then in December, I took a trip to Antarctica. That was on my bucket list and it just happened. So it was an amazing year. There was so much but none of it was really planned. But it was so much fun. Now let's talk about the idea of purpose. Society tends to romanticize having one true purpose. But the truth is, many of us don't have just one. We are multifaceted beings with evolving interests and passions. In early retirement, you don't need a grand mission or a singular purpose to justify leaving your job. Your purpose can be as simple as spending more time with your family, focusing on your health, or exploring hobbies you never had time for. And here's the beautiful part: your purpose doesn't have to be static, it can evolve. Maybe in the first year of retirement, your purpose is to rest and recharge. In the second year, it might be to travel or learn a new skill. Over time, you might feel, drawn to something you've never even considered while you are working. And these can all be intertwined at the same time as well. For instance, in 2025, my purpose is to share my learnings and my experiences with early retirement with the hope of providing inspiration and education to others. Will this purpose last next year? I have no idea. And that's okay. I might find something else that's personally rewarding. In fact, I was just talking to a friend of mine last week who plans to retire this year, and we learned that both of us have a passion for math and teaching. And we were exploring the idea of tutoring kids in the community. Maybe I'll be doing that next year. Last year, I spent a lot of time traveling, as I told you all about, but there were extended periods of time when I was home in Dallas, Texas, and I started driving Uber for a few hours. Now, I met many interesting people, heard their stories, especially on the longer trips. I gave a ride to Dak Prescott's father, um, Dak Prescott, the current quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. And we had a great conversation about do's and don'ts of supporting your child who's exceptional in sports. I gave a ride to Tesla's former people and places leader, and we had an interesting conversation about working on Elon Musk's staff. And then another HR leader about the pros and cons with DEI initiatives in the workplace and how they're going, etc., etc. There were so many of these conversations. Those were entertaining. But the most rewarding were rides when I was taking the elderly from their home to church or to a senior community. Many of them are so lonely. So, apart from the ride, they yearn for conversation, and it felt like the rides were a bright spot in their day. And it was so satisfying and rewarding personally. Now, driving Uber was fun for a while, and when it started getting boring, I stopped doing it. Now, when I'm saying that you don't need to figure out your ultimate life purpose before retiring, I do think it's important to set goals. Goals give you some structure, a sense of progress, and something to look forward to. When I just retired, I had been selected to play for the US cricket team for over 40s World Cup in South Africa. So my goal was to do well there and be selected for future tournaments. To do that, I had to work on my fitness. I hired a personal trainer and got into the best shape of my life. I had other goals like completing a 24-kilometer hike to Mount Fitzroy in Patagonia later in the year, and the fitness routine helped me with that as well. Now, with a lot of travel to South and Central America, I wanted to learn Spanish. So, all the time I spent in Duolingo helped me a lot in Nicaragua, Chile, and Argentina. Now, in 2025, I'm using a more metric driven approach for my goals, like to get to a 4.5 DUPR rating in pickleball by doing more drills regularly and playing at least a tournament a month. I want to be conversant in Spanish by completing Spanish 1, 2, and 3 at the local community college. I want to get selected for the Veterans inaugural T20 Cricket World Cup in Pakistan in December. Um, I plan to travel to 6 more new countries that I've never been to before. I want to take my first solo trip to one of these. And I want to share my journey by uploading at least one video on YouTube per week on average. Now, I have other goals, but I was just sharing some of them. Very similar to corporate life, when you have specific and measurable goals, you can actually create work back plans and it helps create a routine and a structure for you. So you aren't just eating junk food and watching Netflix. And again, you don't have to have these goals all figured out when you quit your job. It will come to you with time. And goals don't need to be huge, they just need to give you a sense of direction, even if it's for the short term. And remember, goals can change. The key is to keep moving forward. Now, early retirement is also about exploration. When you free up your time, you create space to try new things, discover hidden talents, and reconnect with old passions. It gives you the option to say yes far more than you could while you were working. This habit of saying yes to things has been the most rewarding for me. I said yes to a friend to learn pickleball, and now I'm totally hooked to it. And I've developed a whole new huge social circle of competitive as well as recreational players. We were in Patagonia last Thanksgiving, and an opportunity to go to Antarctica just came up at the last minute. I said, yes, why not? And that 7 day Antarctica expedition was simply out of the world. And then there were some things I said yes to that didn't quite work out. But I'm glad I tried. Like being part of an administration group for cricket. I volunteered for 6 months and realized that administration wasn't something that I really enjoyed, and I quit that. There are many such examples of things I did that I normally wouldn't have tried, but having the time allowed me to experience them. You may start hiking and realize you love the outdoors, or you may try your hand at photography or volunteer at a local charity. The point is, you don't have to know what your thing is right away. Just start exploring and let life surprise you. Now, one of the biggest misconceptions about early retirement is that it's a never ending vacation. While that sounds like fun, the reality is having too much unstructured time can feel overwhelming. That's why I recommend creating a routine that balances relaxation, hobbies, and personal growth. For me, mornings are for exercise and self care, afternoons for hobbies or learning, and evenings for family time, social activities. A routine doesn't have to be rigid. It just needs to give your day some kind of shape. Um, this structure makes your time feel purposeful, even if you don't have a big overarching goal. Now, one of the best parts about early retirement is the freedom to change course. If a goal or activity no longer excites you, drop it. Try something else. This flexibility is what makes early retirement so fulfilling. You're not locked into one purpose or one plan. You get to design your life as you go, adjusting based on your interests and needs. Here's the bottom line: you don't have to have your entire life purpose figured out to embark on an early retirement journey. It's okay to run away from something that's no longer serving you. What matters is reclaiming your time and giving yourself the freedom to explore, set goals, and live intentionally. Purpose isn't a destination, it's something you create along the way. So if you're holding back because you're not sure what you'll do after you quit, let go of that fear. Take the leap and trust that you will figure it out. What about you? Are you running away from something or towards something? Let me know in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone else who needs a little encouragement. Until next time, savor the journey.